It's not showing up alive. We're starting to get people. Insert waiting.
Maybe I'll just hold it like this.
Okay.
Who's that?
It's Eli. It's Elijah.
Hola. Hey, how are you? I see the head.
Yay. Okay. I'm going to say invite DOS.
Hey, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. Tag a friend. Connect with some folks. Hey, Lawrence. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Hey, Nathan. How you doing? Are y'all still in Oregon? Or are you up the...
I'm waiting for Elijah.
Okay. Is he trying to log in? How's everyone doing? Oh, I see all the wonderful waves. Thank you all. Very important topic tonight.
Thank you. And we are there.
See him?
No, I don't see him.
It's my first Instagram live, y'all, so bear with us. Welcome, 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 everyone. Appreciate you for logging in and being in community with us this evening. All right. There we go. EJ, Elijah, you're here.
Hi, y'all. I'm here.
Hey.
Good. Yeah.
I have my child here, so if it gets a little rowdy, that's why.
It's okay. We all know what it's like to have kids and try to manage kids and pets and everyone while being online. I think we learned a lot from the COVID pandemic about how to manage in these spaces with kids. So it's all good. So I'm gonna give it about 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. Well, 3 more minutes. So come on in, everyone. Come on in. Invite your family members, invite your friends, invite everyone for this, I will say, crucial conversation around education and supports. Come on in.
No.
Okay. Hopefully some of you all have a chance to have dinner, and some of you all are driving. So I hope that you're driving safely while listening in. There we go. Is that gonna help?
Mm-hmm. Good thinking. It was right before us the whole time.
Okay. Give us about another minute and then we'll get started. Another minute. Another minute. Another minute. Elijah, you're almost ready? You'll be ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Everyone, we're going to start it at 6:05. We'll get started at 6:05. I want to thank everyone who's been able to join us tonight, taking time out of your busy schedule to be in community with us. So we're going to get it started. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Janet Kelly. I'm the executive director and founder of Sanctuary of Hope. And tonight, of course, we're going to be talking about all things education, how we can, during this education week, which is a part of National Runaway Prevention and Homeless Youth Awareness Month, help young people to succeed. And we're very fortunate enough to have an amazing group of young people who care about education and who have coordinated or curated today's Instagram Live to talk about it. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Elijah Fowler, who is one of the leaders on our Youth Action Board. Elijah, take it away.
Hello, everybody. I would like to thank the Instagram audience for joining us tonight on this conversation about education and the supports to help students persist and complete school. So this is a very important topic for the Youth Action Board, especially because, again, we are a Youth Action Board. So it requires, one, a lot of youth, two, a lot of action from the youth, and three, a lot of capability. With that being said, I want to make sure that the students in crisis, the public at large, are aware of the resources and, of course, just overall knowledge of things that we can use to make education a much more smoother transition. I would also like to thank my fellow Youth Action Board members for coordinating this event tonight. And tonight we have with us Mr. Lawrence Doss, who is a PSA counselor / CES counselor with the Student Health and Human Services and Homeless Education Office. Mr. Doss will be providing some insight for us on what he does to help support the students and youth in our community. So, Mr. Doss, tell us a little about yourself and explain what PSA and CES counselors do and just, how you work.
Sure, for sure. So I'm Lawrence Doss. I am a school counselor, a PSA counselor, education coordinator. There's a bunch of different names. All depends on who's asking. So I have been with LAUSD since 2015. And when I came into LAUSD in 2015, I was a school-based, like, attendance and truancy counselor. So what that looked like was, just kind of looking at the trends and data of the schools where I was assigned to. So for a long time, I was assigned to Dorsey High School. So what that looked like was, assessing, which students are absent. Are there any trends among, like, the grades? Is it 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th graders who are absent? Or are there certain times of the year where students are absent? Is it before breaks or holidays or after breaks or holidays? And so my job was to keep close watch over that data and try to make sure our students were attending school. And once I kind of took a deep dive into that, my next step was to provide resources or try to figure out what barriers were there that prevented our students. So did they need help with transportation? Did they need help with school supplies? Did they have things going on at home? I would often leave campus and do home visits, just so I can sit down and talk with the families to see, what can we do to make sure that you're arriving to school on time as much as possible. After that, I came over to this position that I am in currently. I've been here for, I want to say 3 years now, within the CES system, within the coordinated entry system. And so essentially what I do now is I make sure I work with families and I also work with young adults. And my job is to make sure, again, similar type of work as when I was my previous position, make sure there aren't any barriers to their education. Students are able to enroll in school, making sure also that the school system and the housing system are able to communicate effectively with each other, because sometimes they speak two different languages.
Right.
And so my job is to try to stand in between there and make sure that both sides can communicate with each other well.
That's awesome. So in a way, you're kind of like a middleman for both the students and the faculty. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. So there is a legislation called the McKinney-Vento. I believe I said that right. I hope I said that right.
Yeah.
What is it? And, explain it. Explain how it works. Explain how it could benefit students and how it could benefit us.
For sure. So starting in 2015, I think it's about 2015, McKinney-Vento is the definition of homelessness that we use within the school system. So that means kind of the three buzzwords we like to use is the, oh, I just saw a comment. Oh, yes, Tiana. Sorry. The wording, the terminology we might use is the residence, is it fixed, right? Is this a fixed place that this family will be? Is it adequate? And that's kind of where it can get blurry, because you have within the CES system, the federal definitions of homelessness, where you might have like literally homeless on the street or in the car, where inside the school system with McKinney-Vento, you might have that definition, like, is it adequate, right? So we might have a family of 5 or 6, but they have a studio, right? So now within the CES system, we might say that family is not homeless. They're not literally homeless.
Right.
Within the school system, we might say, well, that housing isn't necessarily adequate, right? That doesn't necessarily fit. And so what McKinney-Vento does is it allows us to first identify who our homeless families are within the school system, because that's really important, because once we identify our families, we know who we can serve. The other thing it does, I can name a few. I wrote down a few because I think they're really important. But one of the major things it does is immediate enrollment for our homeless families.
Oh, wow.
So what that means is we might have a family who recently relocated from, let's say, out of the state. Now they're temporarily being housed by an agency in a hotel or motel. Maybe they don't have access to all of their immunization records right now. They just moved from, let's say, Texas, right? Maybe they don't have access to everything. Maybe they don't have a copy of their transcript or their latest report card right away. And so what McKinney-Vento does is says, no, we still must enroll these students right away so that they don't continue to miss school. And we have time, like later, we can catch up. We can get all of that paperwork. So just removing barriers to attendance. Another thing you might say, that's a kind of a catch-all term. We just want to remove the barriers to students attending school. So I'll give you another example, a barrier we might have, let's say for our homeless families. Let's say you have a school and they say, well, our enrollment hours are 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Tuesdays, right? Now, if we have a homeless family, maybe they're not available from 7 to 8 on Tuesday. Maybe transportation is an issue for that family, right? So in that particular case, this school's enrollment hours are a barrier to our families and students attending school. So we want to change that. So this law basically says you have to change that to accommodate our families. So that's just 2 of them, right? Do I have space to keep going?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm loving
a couple
it.
more.
Give us everything. Tell us everything.
Okay, so McKinney-Vento, a couple more, like school of origin, right? So let's say we have a family who is, they were permanently housed in Hawthorne, attending a school in Hawthorne. Let's say for some reason they lost that housing. Now they're being temporarily placed in Carson. Well, we don't want to say, well, school of origin rights, they have the right to continue to remain at that school in Hawthorne. And I think the thought process behind it is if you have a family or if you have students, everything in their lives are moving, right? They're bouncing from place to place. You want to have at least one constant. Maybe they are still familiar with their same teachers, with their same group of friends. So you don't want that student or that family to have to meet new people every month when they move to a new place. Um, Another really, really important one is the ability with McKinney-Vento to receive partial credits, right? So let's say that's really, really critical, especially when we start talking about like our young adults, right?
From that.
Right? That's important, right? Like I go to a school and I only stay, the class is semester long and I only stay halfway through it. I was supposed to get 5 credits, but I transfer halfway in and I go to another school. Then I go to another school. We actually had a case where like, hey, I sit down with a student and we go through like, tell me all the schools that you've attended up until this point. Right. And so now they might think that they only have 90 credits, but maybe they have, it was a 5-credit class, but they stayed for a certain percentage of it so they can get 2 credits here, maybe 1 credit there, maybe 3 credit there. And all those partial credits matter, right? Because and that's super helpful for our population because you might have someone who's bouncing from place to place. Really important. That's it. I'm good for now. So McKinney-Vento, yeah, it does a lot.
Amazing. That's amazing. And again, someone, like I said earlier, is someone who could have benefited from a lot of those specific things, especially I believe it was with the transportation to school, because there was a period where, again, I was homeless, and so I was on like one half of AB and my school was on the other half of AB. It was just very hard to consistently want to keep up with that. So speaking of, schooling and students, is there a specific age group for the McKinney-Vento?
Yeah, so all the way up until age 21, or if, like for special education students age 22, that becomes super helpful, especially when we're looking at those who are, maybe 17 or 18, getting ready to graduate from high school. And when it comes to FAFSA for financial aid, you have like determination letters for your homeless status to where there are certain exceptions, like maybe you don't have access to your parents' financial information.
Right.
And maybe you're an unaccompanied student who your information and your income is all you have. And so financial aid departments are able to go in with McKinney-Vento and make that determination that you are independent or you don't have access to your parent or guardian and you're applying for this aid on your own. So that's really important. And I think this going up to age 21 really helps our population.
Yeah, and you said it's for special education students too, which would be 22.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I am a special education student, so I would fall into that category. So that's a blessing for me because, again, I needed so many resources when I was younger and I wasn't able to get them. So this is kind of lifting, this opens up my availability to even possibly go back to school and really focus on the essentials of what I wanted to do with my life. So thank you for that.
Right.
Well, can you tell me a little bit about some of the top requests or some of the top things that these students and these families ask for in the branch and department that you work in?
For sure. So if I'm thinking families with young children under 18, most of their requests for assistance is with enrollment support. Like, hey, I just got to Hawthorne and I moved from this place. I don't know what school to go to.
Right.
I don't know where it's located. I don't have all the paperwork I need to enroll. I don't have a permanent address, right? And none of those things are a barrier to enrollment, but sometimes they just need someone to advocate for them. They may not know that those things are not barriers to enrollment. And so enrollment is definitely one. School supplies, that's another one for families with young children. School supplies, uniforms, especially if they're attending a school who wears uniforms, they may not have the finances to provide those. And especially with uniforms, like you don't just need one set, right? You might need,
multiple sets.
Need multiple sets of it. And if you have multiple children too, you need quite a lot of clothes. You need a lot of clothes. And so that could be a barrier to attendance. Food, a lot of families will want to be connected to resources for food. Another thing for families with young children, especially like around this time during the holidays, Thanksgiving, like, hey, is there somewhere we can go? Because maybe they don't get to enjoy the, the type of, occasion or events that some families get to enjoy. They still want that experience. So is there a place they can go for that? Or Christmas time, is there somewhere who has gifts, or they're doing some type of, is there a local, community group who's having gifts or something like that? So, those are some of the main requests with families with young children. For students, or maybe maybe I'll use that for our population, 18 through 24. A lot is records requests. Like, hey, maybe I didn't complete high school, but I do need access to my most recent transcript, right? So I can see how far I've made it. Maybe I want to apply to this adult school. So I need my transcript. I want to see, what adult school is nearby. Is there one that can accommodate my schedule? Maybe they need one that's online, or maybe they need one that meets just on weekends in person, to fit around their work schedule. So that's big. Records requests. Also, a big one is graduation exemptions. So I know that's not to get to like technical. So typically you need 220 credits to graduate. But for our population, if you're a student who after their second year of high school, you experience, homelessness or being in the juvenile justice system or any of those kind of special life events, you would qualify. Now, a school has to, determine that. They have to assess your transcript, but you would qualify to graduate at a lower threshold, like 130 credits instead of 220, because of some of those special life circumstances. So sometimes that can be really helpful, right? When you're sitting down with someone who might be a little overwhelmed by like, man, I haven't completed school.
Right.
I want to finish. And maybe they have 90 credits and thought they needed 220. But if they need 130, that's a totally different conversation.
Right.
Might be a little encouraging to hear.
Absolutely.
So a lot of times those are some of our TAY, those are the conversations.
That's awesome. That's very reassuring. That's just, man, I wish I was a kid again. So with that being said, I've again mentioned how much benefit it would be for me to have had a resource like this or someone like you. So how would families and students go about specifically looking to find someone in your position or even reach out to you? How would we go about doing that?
Yeah, man, that's a big, so earlier when you mentioned like, what is the McKinney-Vento Act, right?
Right.
So some of the other things that are in that act is that McKinney-Vento is like a federal law. But one of the things it said is that every state has to have like, I don't know what you want to call it, an administrator who oversees McKinney-Vento and who makes sure that all of the school districts under them are adhering to this, right? And they make sure that there's training available to train school districts to do it. So that's part of McKinney-Vento. Another part of it is McKinney-Vento will also say, like, at the local level, and at local level, I mean like Compton Unified, Linwood Unified, or Long Beach Unified. Like, each school district has to have someone who's responsible for overseeing it at the district level.
Okay.
So accessing someone like me, there is legally required for there to be at least one person in every school district, right?
Oh, okay.
Who is knowledgeable about all of these things and who can help guide you. Now, some school districts take it even further. Like, you're only the minimum you're required as a school district is to have one person at the district level. But some schools will go even further and put one person at every campus, right? Like, so there's someone similar to me. In a lot of schools, there'll be someone similar to me at every single campus who's familiar with all these things, right? So accessing some of this information, hopefully, right? Like, hopefully, from what I'm being told, there's someone on just about every campus who's familiar with this.
Wow. Okay, that's awesome. That's reassuring. So just one of those go around and ask situations.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, this is, I believe, my last and final question for you. What is something that you would like to leave with the audience for us today?
Yeah, so kind of the way it started, like, I want to say you made a statement like, man, I wish I would have known some of these things. Like, I would love people to know that like homelessness or whatever situation that you're going through is by itself is not a barrier. Like there are resources available. There are people like me available. There's, you know, McKinney-Vento on these special laws. And then what you're starting to see too is a lot of like even our community colleges, like the basic needs centers on campus. We're starting to see like a lot of campus. I'm thinking right offhand that Cal State Dominguez has a really awesome basic needs center where they have like a food pantry available. They can connect you to like they have a clothing closet available, and they might connect you to housing resources. And so I would love someone to know that like just to reach out, because I think the support is there, and I think it's growing where we're really trying to make, you know, education attainable, and to really not get over, that may not be a good word, but to address like some of the barriers that are happening. Oh,
Right.
someone coming at least 3 pantries. So somebody's from Cal State Dominguez. Cool.
That
Yeah,
is
I actually follow Cal State Dominguez Basic Needs Center on Instagram. So I think that's why that one came to mind
awesome.
like first, because it's really cool. They have a lot of good stuff going on.
That is wow. Like there's just that all of this is mind-boggling to me because it's just again there's so many different things and valid points that you were able to address in terms of the problems that students experience, especially during the homeless crisis that's going on out here in especially in California. And again, as a person who only my only income I think was general relief or EBT, so I wasn't, you know, I didn't have a job. I didn't have a cushion. And so kind of seeing that this is a way to help get that foot in the door and provide that cushion for students, it's something that I want to see grow. Just like you said, I want to see more of, because this is something that I think a lot of communities can benefit from. So, wow, thank you so much
You're welcome.
for filling us in with that information. That McKinney Vito or Vento. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
gonna have to look into that because I need to go back to school. So, with that being said, thank you, Mr. Doss, and thank you, audience, for hanging out and staying and listening to all the information provided. And with that being said, you can find more information about all the events that SOH is doing at soh.org. Go ahead, tune in, check us out. We're doing so many more events for National Runaway Prevention Awareness Month, which is, by the way, what this is for, if y'all didn't know. So again, tune in, check us out, let us know. And again, thank you guys for everything. Thank you, all viewers. Thank you again, Mr. Doss. You
You're
have
welcome.
fueled a fire into my educational journey. So I will definitely be looking into those resources. Thank
For
you, thank
sure.
you, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you, Miss Kim. Oh my God. Y'all are amazing.
Thank you all. Everyone have a good night.
Thank you.